Welcome to Equity in Focus. I am your host, Kevin Hooks. Today, we are diving into the intersection of art, entrepreneurship, and representation with Kris Hale, the visionary behind Dope Pieces Puzzle Company, a brand that pieces together diversity through the art of puzzles. Kris's journey from a passionate puzzler to a pioneering entrepreneur reflects a broader narrative of seeking visibility and creating spaces where all can feel represented. Join us as we explore how Dope Pieces is contributing to the new Black Renaissance and reshaping the landscape of cultural inclusivity, one puzzle piece at a time. Welcome.
Hey, everybody. Hey, good people. My name is Kris Hale, and I am the owner of Dope Pieces Puzzle Company. We make puzzles that are dope enough to frame. We focus on the artwork of artists of color that positively represent the Black and Brown diaspora, which is very important to us. We like to say that representation is important, and we do it piece by piece.
No, I love that. So tell me how you got started and where you're from, that kind of thing. We need to know who Kris Hale really is.
Okay, all day. We can talk about me all day. I'm here for it. So I am originally from Long Beach, California, LBC all day. However, I've been in Georgia for 11 years now, and I love it here. I started doing puzzles when I was about 5 years old. I am the youngest of 7 children, and them people did not have time to be playing with me. Like our age gaps are pretty significant. My sister and I are 24 years apart.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, right. And so the youngest of them, we are 7 years apart. And so they spent a lot of time outside the house, hanging out with their friends. But puzzle night was family night and everybody was at the house. And I distinctly recall the first puzzle that I was able to do with them as a family. I was probably in kindergarten, and it was a Marvel's Heroes puzzle with Xavier sitting in the front and just all the superheroes all around it. And they messed around and let me put that last piece in. And then they clapped for me. I was done. I was going to be puzzling for the rest of my life.
Wow. It's interesting because you mentioned like you use art, Black art and things like that. Talk about what made you go from this avid puzzler to I'm going to turn it into a business. And oh, by the way, I'm going to expose the world to things that maybe they wouldn't otherwise be exposed to.
Absolutely. So, as I said, I started puzzling when I was really young. And as I got older, I continued to puzzle, but I had a really hard time finding puzzles that I felt were reflective of me, my community, people I love, or culture. And so I had just finished this one puzzle, 100 Best Literary Works. And I'm an English major, so it was interesting to me. But after I was done, I really wanted to do something else. Around the same time, a really good friend of mine, Vince Ballantyne, was getting ready for an art show. Now, I fell in love with art when I was 18 years old. It was a image called He Ain't Heavy by Gilbert Young. And I was like, art isn't just pretty pictures. It says something, it communicates something. So when I started Dope Pieces, I saw the art piece that Vincent was working on, and it was this really beautiful black-faced woman with a gray fro and these huge earrings, and it just clicked to me. She was beautiful. And so I started Dope Pieces with that. And then I found another really beautiful image of this woman with a really big afro, two reflections. And it became really important to me that in this industry, this multi-million-dollar industry, where you don't see a lot of representation, a lot of polar bears and candy and, just random things, that there would be beautiful art. And not just beautiful, but positive representation, which on the back end became really important to me because as people would see the puzzles, they would say stuff like, that reminds me of my mom, my aunt. She looks like me. And when you see stuff that looks like someone you love, you don't want to see them in peril or hurt or harmed or made to look ugly or enslaved in any way. And so it's really important to me that the images that I use are beautiful and they are fine art pieces and they are representation of diverse cultures, which you don't really see in this industry.
But art is such a vast industry, right? And so, I mean, especially like even the world of Black art, I think people don't know. Like everybody, Elizabeth Catlett is different than Cynthia St. James, is different than Charles Bibbs. Like they bring their own unique sort of thing, I don't know, beauty to their craft. How do you select which artists you're going to focus on?
I use a lot of up and coming artists, a lot of new artists. A lot of them do have a really big following already, but usually it starts with the image for me. So Patrick Dorr is He's one of my early artists, one of my favorite. And his image, Ordain, is a very, very, very just chocolate, black faced man with a crown on and like gold and this gold moon behind him. And every image that I saw from Patrick was a reflection of love for Black people. And then when I look at work from Ananda Nahu or from Alejandro Quito, all of it is from a loving space. So when I pick the art and I pick the artist, it really is the message that they're sending. And they're all diverse. You know, Black people are not a monolith. Nobody, you know, we're not all the same. And so the art pieces that I pick are diverse as well. But the one commonality that they do have is that they were a positive reflection. And then just the artists and their messaging themselves. So if I see something, and I'm attracted to bright colors, I'll say that first. You know, I got on this, you know, blue dress with this red lipstick, but I am attracted to color. But I am truly attracted to images that positively reflect us and other cultures. So I pick my art based on the messaging of the image.
So how did it make you feel? Like I'm not a puzzler. Let me be very clear and honest. Like that.
You don't gotta be.
I am the most I'm impatient and I hate waiting, like Jay-Z said. So it's just too arduous of a process for me. But that being said, I have walked down the aisles in stores, you know, some of the major retailers, and I see, and it's usually like some old white man, Monet or somebody, you know, that's been converted into puzzles. So was that like the moment you were just like, oh, there's room for people of color to be in places like this also?
Well, you know, at first, I think there's room for people of color everywhere, and we probably need to, you know, start taking up more
Right.
space in multiple industries. But honestly, it was when so Barnes and Noble is where I've purchased my puzzles for the longest. Like that's my first go-to. And
Mhm.
when I went and I had bought that one puzzle and it had like all the literary works on it, it had Color Purple on there and like a couple of other, you know, The Spook Who Sat by the Door, and it had like other literary works on it. But that was the first thing that attracted it to me, that made that puzzle attractive. And then when I finished it and I balled it back up and put it back in the box, I went back and I was looking, honey. I was looking for something that was reflective. And, you know, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs as well. And when I saw the picture from Vince, it just all clicked for me. It just all made sense that there is room for us. Currently, within my circle of other entrepreneurs that I work with, there's probably 9 other Black-owned puzzle companies, right? And this is
Mhm.
a multi-million dollar industry. It just needs more of us. It needs more diversity. It needs more Native Americans, more Pacific Islanders, more Black people, more African people, more things that are diverse. And that's true. When you go in, you see a lot of TV nostalgia, right? But it'll be Archie Bunker on there or Dukes of Hazzard, which are all shows that I watched, but you don't necessarily see images that look like us or reflect a culture that look like us. So yeah, there is definitely room on the shelf. And I made a decision that I would only want to work with artists of color. I don't care what color, but
I
just
think I
bring
think
culture.
I think that's brilliant. But so for the audience's edification, talk about the barriers of entry. Like how difficult is it to get in the space, to get, you know, to create the, you know, the product and then to find a place to sell it.
So with that, entrepreneurship just in itself is difficult. Like it, you have to love this to keep
Yeah.
going. And I am not one of those people that say if you find something you love, it's never a day of work. No, honey, it's work. It's work every day. It feels like it every day. But I think there's a lot of things that are unique to Black entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs of color across the board. Is there's a level of doubt. I cannot tell you how many times I've come to people and said, "Oh, I own a puzzle company," and then I hand them my business card, and they're like, "Oh, you have a business card," or I'm like, "Go look at my website," and they're like, "Oh, you have a website," and then I
Hmm.
hand them product, and they're like, "Oh, you have product." I'm like, "I said I was a business owner. What did that? What did you assume that meant?" And
Right.
so for everything that I hand them, I got a thick business card that is well made. My website looks really good. And the product, we put a lot of work into those things. And so as I meet barriers, I always want to meet them in excellence. The artists that I work with are amazing artists. You can go to their sites and go to their pages. And so just kind of like the doubt sometimes and then making room, because even when you go to Target, Barnes and Noble, if you're buying at Walmart and you're buying at these typical puzzle stores, you don't see a lot of representation at all. There's a lot of Disney, there's a lot of Star Wars, and then a lot of other puzzles by major puzzle companies that aren't really showing up for us. So it is up to us, like it is typically, to make room on those shelves and spaces for us. I am currently in, and this is my strategic move. I am currently in 24 mom and pop stores, small stores across Black owned bookstores, boutiques, gift stores, and not just Black owned. I'm in Bookish, which is owned by a beautiful lady in there who allowed me space on her shelf, but really proving that there is a market. So I opted to start very small. I am also on Amazon and will be moving into a real campaign to get into Target, to get in the shelves of Barnes and Noble, because people are buying it. I've been
Yeah.
in business for 6 years, and a lot of businesses don't cross that 5 year hurdle. And I have passed it and I'm still moving, you know, so doing it.
So how much is it, there's a saying, everybody wants to fly, but nobody wants to jump. So how difficult was it to take that first step to say, this is what I'm going to try to do, and I'm going to put all I have into it?
Terrifying. Terrifying. My friend and I often say that, you know, do it scared. People are
Mm.
always wanting, not people are always, and I don't want to make such a blanket statement, but people often are saying, don't be scared, don't be scared. Do it scared. That's where bravery comes in. And so I
Mhm.
didn't know a lot about the puzzle industry when I initially started this journey. But what I tell every entrepreneur that I talk to is learn your craft, learn your industry. And so what helps to knock down some of that fear is knowledge. And I say this all the time, for the puzzle industry, you really got to know your stuff. And the thickness of a puzzle piece on average is anywhere from 1.7 to 2 millimeters, right? And so when I go and I order my puzzles, Ravensburger, which is the largest, they probably do 2.5 or 3. My puzzle pieces are 2 millimeter white backs because it doesn't create the puzzle dust, linen finish. When I keep learning and I keep going about growing and becoming educated in my business, it helps to alleviate a level of that fear, because it's scary having to know, getting your LLC, your business license, your EIN, your Duns and Bradstreet, learning all
Mhm.
those things and starting a business, and you don't really know.
Yeah.
I read a lot, I asked a lot of questions, and you can't be afraid to do that and do your own research for your industry and for business. Period. So I'm scared every day. It's business. It's terrifying.
Listen, so we all, but we also got the peanut gallery. So tell me about your friends and family and their reaction to you saying, "Oh, this is what I'm sure they know your love for puzzling. So when you decided to do this, what was the reaction?"
You know, my brother William, we call him Butch. He is my biggest cheerleader and supporter. Gave me my first money to invest in me. Like, I am blessed to come from a family that I talk so much, and I'm like, let's get up and do this. That there is nothing I could tell them that they don't believe me that I will do or that I can do. And I know that everybody doesn't have that. And so I am extremely blessed in that fact. And they're always like, so what's going on now? I send them my articles and I send them like the cool things that I've been able to do. And they're really excited for me. As far as friends, when I lived in California, I had a lot of friends that were, 9 to 5. And when I talked about starting a business, they were like, "Oh, you better go to work. Stop playing." You know,
Right,
um,
right,
you know,
right.
because it's scary. It's not a guaranteed check. It's not guaranteed money that's coming
You
in.
gotta have a
But
J.O.B. Remember that song,
man, and
right?
I believe that too. I don't believe that
Yeah.
entrepreneurs should just burn their ships and stop working, because
Okay.
I will say that the early parts of Dope Pieces were funded through my job. That's how I paid for product. That's how I
Mhm.
paid for my assistant until, I was able to kind of half it up between Dope Pieces and my job, and just really growing out of that. But when I moved to Atlanta, honey, when I moved to Atlanta, 98% of my friends are entrepreneurs, and that is a different level of conversation. It is, I literally could cry now just thinking about it, because our, our conversations are the same. I'm not having to explain, like, girl, I went down there. Did you get your business license? Did you know that they just carried a new policy for, they know.
Yeah.
And my success is their success is my success, and we are supporting one another through that. So if I'm giving any level of advice, not that anybody asked me for any, but I'm gonna give it to you anyway, is if you want to go into business, find your tribe. Find
Hmm.
your tribe of people that are entrepreneurs as well. And it does not matter what industry they're in. It is the spirit of entrepreneurship. It is a spirit of being a creator that that you will need support in that area. So all my friends are cheering me on. You know, I had a phone call with a friend of mine last night, Onaje from Zuccotti Gallery, and he's like, I'm so proud of you. I remember when this was just an idea. And they've been there to watch that journey and growth. So, you know, I'm double blessed in having a family that is supportive and having a group of friends. But I crafted that for myself because you can't tell small minds your big dreams. And so
Mm.
you have to surround yourself with big thinkers so that they can help you when you are trying to create your big thing.
No, I love that. I want you to talk more about the importance of community, especially people that have sort of like, shared aspirations, but also technical ability to provide technical support. Like, how do I monetize this? What are the things, the steps that I need to do to scale, et cetera? Talk about that a little bit more.
So, you know, my opportunity to be here with you, Kevin, came from a friend who
Mm.
introduced us and, you know, talked about me. And so those things, having friends that speak about you in rooms when you are not there, who have seats at tables that you are not at, but also pass along your name with the appetizers, you know, and talk about your business. You know,
Right.
it's that's real. And then having other friends, and that's why I say it doesn't matter if you have friends that are in different industries when it comes to entrepreneurship, because you may need them in that industry. So I have friends that do printing. A friend of mine needed a printing job, and I was like, go on and call Daryl. If Daryl doesn't answer, go on and call this person because they'll have you. But using your resources and actually speaking up about what you're doing is so huge. It is something that I had to work on, and it's not the direct asking for help. It's sometimes saying, hey, I'm looking for somebody in marketing. I'm looking for a printer. I'm looking for a new bookkeeper. I'm looking for
Mhm.
this. Run your list off. Let people know, because within that circle and within your network, somebody will know somebody else. And that's how you find, you know, the things that you need. But then also helping you scale, making sure that you're not just spending time by yourself or just with your friends, but you are going into new rooms. You are going outside of your comfort zone. And I know Atlanta is black, 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 black all day, and I am here for it. But making sure that your circles are diverse, very diverse, because that puts you in new rooms. It puts you, you know, in the mouths of new people that you're not always going to meet if you're always with the same people. So and I, it grades on me every time I hear it, but it's still true when they talk about your network is your net worth.
Mhm.
It's true, because the people that you spend time with, the people that you talk to, are going to talk about you, and make sure that they have something good to say. You know, I work really hard that my yes is my yes, my no is my no. If I say I'm going to do something, I try to do it. And if I cannot get it done, then I'll just tell you. I wasn't able to get that done. Here's the reason. I apologize. I want to make sure it doesn't happen again. So you have to be of value and quality yourself, and also be a help. Like, you just don't want to be out in these streets asking for help all the time and not be of value. I am a excellent partner when it comes to ideation. I have a really great network of people. So for anything that someone comes to me, I'm always like, how can I help?
Yeah.
What do you need? How can I be useful to you? So as you scale and you grow, it is your network, it is the conversation, it is, you know, saying what you need, being of use to other people, and making sure that you have a diverse group of people to pull from. And don't be scared. Don't be scared. I am in Delta's face right now. I'm like, hey, Delta, really want to work with you. How you doing, Delta? You know, one of my mentors,
For the audience, Delta Sigma 3 in your sorority
no,
or
Delta
Delta
Airlines.
Airlines. Okay.
Delta Airlines, like, I am
Wow.
in
Okay.
Delta Airlines' face, like, hey, because I started doing custom puzzles as well as my art-based puzzles.
Uh,
And so I have a list of people: Delta, Southwest, Coca-Cola, all of these people that I want to work with, UPS, what is that? Who else is on the list? Home Depot, I want to get into Target, Walmart. And so anytime I have these opportunities, I am saying that, and I am in their faces. I'm like, hey guys, what about this? And so as you're scaling, one of the other responsibilities is to yourself to trust in your product and be ready to say, hey, I'm here and I want to do this. Here's what I can offer. And you asked me one question and I answered like 35 because I talk a lot.
I'm going to put you on the spot there for as a punishment. I'll put you on the spot. So 30-second elevator pitch. You're talking all those brands you just mentioned. Why should they engage with you in this business?
You know what? One, because I am going to deliver each and every time for anything that you ask me for. But then I am working with incredible artists, like I said, that positively represent the Black and Brown diaspora and beyond. That there is a hole in the market that Dope Pieces is ready, willing, and able to fit in. And then also for the custom puzzle pieces, we create a unique opportunity for you to connect with your customers by the imaging on the puzzles, by the message on the puzzles, your mission statement, and anything that you want to be able to do there. And we're ready. And I'm dope.
Oh, this is clearly not the first time you've done that. So well done. All right,
Thank you.
let's change directions just a little bit.
Okay.
The world, emerging technology is real. It's changing technology. It's impacting, our world around us. It's such a fast pace. How is it impacting the puzzling? Do you see a future where puzzles are digitized and you're doing it on a computer, or do you need the feel of it for it to actually, you know what I mean?
Okay, so I have two ways to answer that question. So I'm gonna give you one and I'm gonna give you the other.
Okay.
So absolutely, we definitely want to be digital. My dream goal, like when I close my eyes and I'm like, oh, I want to do this, is that I want to be one of the puzzles that you do digitally on the app at Delta. I want to be able to see that on the screen when you're flying. Also having an app that's created, because as I'm looking through those applications for digital puzzles, again, I don't see a whole lot of you know, Black and brown faces on there. So yes, I think that there is going to be a time where puzzles are puzzles are already popular in a digital space. However, puzzles are very hands-on. And I also think that it's a great opportunity to kind of shut those things off. And I'll use the example. I went to a friend's house right after Thanksgiving, and she had kind of had like a leftover party or what have you. And so her 10-year-old daughter and I opened up one of my puzzles and we started working on it. No television, no games, no nothing. Maybe some light music in the background. And we had the best conversation. We had the best conversation using that puzzle. She was, I gave her a section. I was like, you do the yellow with the lines. And she started picking them out. And I just kind of said, you know what, honey, as you are looking for those puzzles, what will happen as you look for those pieces, your eyes will start to find those things because that's what you're looking for. But just as a small thing, life is like that too. When you look for good, you'll find good. When you're looking for bad things, you'll find bad things. So the same way you're looking for those puzzle pieces, is the same way I want you to focus on life, looking for the good things. There was no television and there was no games, and she heard me. And she asked me to come back the next day because we were talking, we were having a conversation. And I think that the thing that I really truly love about puzzles is that family togetherness time. And so yes, digital is always going to be there. And as they talk about AI and technology growing, that quiet time, that one-on-one time, that focus time, that it's quiet and you can just talk, is still going to be relevant and still be important. I think it's going to be something that people are really looking for, the louder the world gets for those moments of quiet.
Oh my God, you know how timely what you just said is. I mean, to all the parents who might be watching this, you got that teenagers in sound bites or three or less words. This is a tool that you could use to actually maybe get them to open their mouth more. And my 19-year-old son says he's 12, 13 from then on, not a word. Like it's just very limited communications.
Let me ask you a question.
So yes.
And I ask and I encourage parents and grandparents, because they're like, I do this with my grandchildren. Do your children know your favorite song? And have they ever seen you dance to it?
That's a great question. And my son knows because I'm crazy like that.
And I always use that as a question. I was like, when you guys are doing puzzles, play your favorite song for them. And talk about like, what it was. And it was like, this is the dance we did to it, in the middle of that puzzle moment. Or, oh my God, when I was a kid, I used to watch Different Strokes. What was Different Strokes? It had Arnold, Mr. Drummond on there, and it's an opportunity to talk and just really come up with great questions that allow them to see you beyond being dad, beyond being mom, beyond being grandparent. Like y'all whole people.
Right,
And
right,
so
exactly.
to them, just mom and dad, like you just exist at my beck and call. You know.
No, look, I love it, but I'm taking my podcast back because I'm supposed to be answering you questions.
I'm
So
so
I'm gonna take
sorry.
it back.
No,
So here we go.
I told you I talked.
As I take it back, let me ask. You said something about you giving her the young lady instructions about how to do the puzzle. So just quickly, because I don't do a lot of puzzle, is the
Okay.
technique still like you do the outside first and work your way in, or is there a better technique?
Okay, so I am a do the outside first kind of person, but then there's also grouping. So if you're looking at the puzzle, and so if there is, I don't know, a dark corner where there's all purple, if there's a apple in there, like you gather up all those pieces, and that's called grouping, and you work with that. But then also another little trick is looking at the shape of the puzzle pieces, because if you have a well-made puzzle, like a dope piece, the puzzle pieces will kind of be indicators as to where they go, and looking at the in out pieces and the shapes of those, as well as looking at the lines in the puzzle. So like I have one puzzle that like the first part of it, I'm like, just do the lines, just do the whole lines and they all connect there. So yeah, outside first and then grouping is my method.
So as I was getting ready to have this conversation, I ran across, and I can't remember the name of it. I should have wrote it down. I just think we would have time for it. But there's competitions where, like,
Yeah.
have you ever been a part of those? You know anything about them?
You know what? I've never been a part of a competition, but I have seen them and I know a number of people that compete. Baby, let me tell you, I was doing a puzzle with one of a person who does competitions, and I was like, I'm not a puzzler. I thought I was a puzzler until I watched her do one of my puzzles in an hour.
Oh my God, yes.
Hour. And it's oh
And
my
they are
God.
serious about it.
And I'm like, what are y'all doing that I'm not doing? But they're in there putting those pieces in, and their eyes are trained to see those pieces. Yes, it is crazy. But no, I have not done it.
So look, before we get out of here, because we're running low on time, listen, I have my one last question. All right. So really quickly, if this is Women's History Month. So in the spirit of that, name three women, whether they're artists or not, that if you could do a puzzle designed around them as a person or their work, what three women, dead or alive, would you pick?
um Viola Davis, I think that her face is so striking. I would love to do a whole puzzle of her and her face and her work and all the different looks of her. I would
Wait a
love to
minute,
do
we talking about the Princess Viola Davis with the bubble, with the snot bubble, or are we talking about the
no,
Viola?
I would beautiful, beautiful and
Oh,
positive. No, I want that back straight, head
yes,
up,
regal,
bolt from her. I want that
amazing,
regalness of her.
Prince. Okay.
Absolutely. And then if I could do another puzzle, I would want beautiful ballerina girls with African print tutus.
Ooh,
That
okay.
is
I
one that
can
I
see Mr. Copeland
do.
all day. Go ahead.
Oh my goodness. And then I want to do a very, very draped in African cloth. What is that called? The manger scene. Like the birth of Jesus. And
Oh,
it
okay,
has,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but I
Okay,
want to do
we both
that.
heard like we get struck down. Look at us, both the
I know, and
Christians.
I'm trying to remember what it's called, but I want to do that. Those are the
Nativity
three images
scene.
that I want to do.
Nativity scene.
Nativity scene. And
Woo!
I want it very, very black oil color faces with
Ooh.
just regal gowns and I know that isn't, he was born in a manger, but I want that. Those are the three.
I love it with all the frankincense and myrrh and everything, right?
Yes. You can
I love
practically smell it. You can
it.
yes. I want that. I want that. And I
Well,
know it
Chris,
isn't all women's face, but it's images that I want.
listen, I really appreciate you taking the time. This has been a great, really revealing conversation in a space that people just don't pay enough attention to. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you for joining us today and sharing your incredible journey with Dope Pieces Puzzle Company. Your commitment to celebrating diversity through art and puzzles, it's not only enriching the puzzling community, but it's also a powerful contribution to the ongoing narrative of visibility and empowerment. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. And remember, each of us has a role to play in creating a more equitable world, whether it's through conscious consumerism or engaging in conversations about representation. Every action counts. Until next time, keep pushing for equity in every focus of your life.